Welcome back to Leeds lately. First of all, thank you so much for helping me to hit 10,000 subscribers. It's been a goal that I've been wanting to do for so long. I didn't think it was ever possible when I first started off with a tiny little microphone that wasn't even supposed to be in my hand. It was supposed to be on the desk. And now, 4 years later, 10,000 subscribers, 600 and odd videos, I think, including all the shorts that I've been doing, and we've finally hit 10k. So thank you so much. And if you're new around here, why not join the family? So Leeds have just won in the Premier League as well. So what a day this has become. Leeds United 1, Everton 0. Lucas Mecha penalty saw Everton off at Elland Road, and Leeds United starts the Premier League in winning style. Fantastic to see that Leeds United took their style from the Championship and implemented it into the Premier League, first half especially. Now, I know that obviously the lineup on the screen is what we ended with, but I know that a lot of people were worried about the way that we would be able to play in this game, specifically this game against Everton, before we did any more recruitment. Dominic Calvert-Lewin wasn't even in the squad, so it was essentially our team from last season with the additions of Perry, Goodmanson, Stack, Longstaff, Mecha, and well, of course, there's quite a few signings there. But we started off with Tanaka in the midfield, Ampadu. Ampadu was excellent, by the way. And in that first half, we really bossed the game. And I think having that midfield stability of having Ampadu, Stack, and Tanaka in there, and obviously having that ability to bring Longstaff into that as well, really, really gives you the opportunity to play football keeping the possession. And we really dominated the possession in the first half. We were really, really good and impressive. We imparted our style of play against Everton. We had our two centre-backs sit in that kind of that rest defence, allowing Goodmanson, who was excellent, by the way, to go up the left-hand side, combine with Nonto and create chances in those early stages. And I thought those two were really good together. Dan James as well, with his lightning quick pace, a few good deliveries into the box. Of course, we need to get more clinical in terms of our finishing, because we had a lot of shots in this game. I think in the first half we'd had 12 shots, and by the end of the game we probably had 14, 15, 16 shots. So I think we were really good. And I think that we tried to push for a goal in that first half, all the way up until half-time. And then when it got to half-time and we went in at the break, it was a little bit like there was it wasn't necessarily a switch in mentality from Leeds, but there was from Everton. And if you watch my tactical preview, I talked about how the fact that when Everton have Mikalenko in the side, who is injured, he pushes forward and essentially does that kind of Goodmanson role with the rest of their defence, the rest of the three of them tucking in to create a back three. And it creates overloads, but they couldn't do that because they had James Garner, who's primarily a holding midfielder, in there. And they didn't do that in the first half. And they basically had their full back four stay back for the most part. And it meant that they weren't really able to create much. In the second half, it's almost as if Moyes had basically just said to both his fullbacks, you are allowed to attack now. I think we're all right. We'll try and put the pressure on Leeds. And they did to an extent, and they pinned us back for quite a lot of that second half. Now, it seemed like they were completely dominating us, but I think that was just in contrast to how much we dominated them in the first half. Because when you actually looked at the statistics about halfway into the second half, the possession was fairly even in the second half, and the amount of shots were as well. So it was actually that they kind of came back into the game and made it more even in the end. But Leeds eventually got to grips with that, and I think that's a good positive sign, is that we didn't kind of fall apart at the first sign of them being actually pretty decent. So they brought those players in to be able to kind of push them up the field a little bit. They made more substitutions. Eventually, Grealish came on. We dealt well with Iliman and Ndiaye and Jack Grealish's ability. Some tough tackling in there from the likes of Stack and Ampadu. We really kind of gave them a physical battle in midfield, and that is, of course, one of the reasons that we've have Stack and Ampadu in that starting lineup. But they've also got the technical ability as well. I thought Stack, again, was outstanding, going forwards and back, making tackles, carrying the ball. Now, I didn't think that Stack would be as much of a marauding midfielder as what I've seen him do against AC Milan, and of course against Everton here as well. Stack was somebody who was carrying the ball quite a lot for us, and especially in that first half, driving forwards with it. There's something that I kind of noticed that is a good differentiation to make, and it's that when Leeds so for example, in that first half, we played really good attacking football and dominated the possession a lot. And it suited Joël Pirou down to the ground. And I thought Joël Pirou had an excellent first half. Other than getting himself on a goal or something, I think he had a really good first half. It was the non-striker stuff, his kind of false nine stuff that he likes to do, dropping in to the midfield with his back to goal, playing those first-time passes round the corner, opening up space for the opposition, from the opposition for his teammates behind him. And I thought he did really, really well. What you'll notice is, though, as soon as Everton started coming back into the game and Leeds weren't necessarily playing kind of that possession football anymore, that was when Joël Pirou kind of completely drifted out of the game and you thought, well, he's not really effective anymore. And I think that is perfect for when Mecha comes on, because Mecha, he can do a little bit of that dropping deep and winning the ball as well. And you saw him running the channels, especially late on with that experience to try and hold the ball in the corner. And he did chase some balls down and press well. But I think the more important thing about Lucas Mecha was the fact that when Leeds were under pressure and they were able to try and play the ball forward, he's somebody to hit. He's a target to hit that can hold the ball. And it really makes a difference. Joël Pirou hasn't got that in his locker, but he's got other good things. Whereas Mecha was perfect to bring on in that moment. And then Farke did it just as I was talking about it on the stream. And he came on and he's obviously scored the winner. Now, not necessarily through that type of play, through a penalty. The penalty, let's talk about it. It was a penalty. Now, Stack goes to shoot from the edge of the box and Tarkowski does one of those kind of leaning falls into the ball like that to try and like block it away. But because he's making an unnatural movement towards the ball to block it, it hit him, I thought at first on the shirt, which anything above the shirt line to shoulder is not a handball, but it actually hit him around here on his actual skin. And therefore, that is a handball. He didn't even need to do it. Pickford would have saved that shot easily from Anton Stack, but he made that unnatural movement towards the ball. It was a penalty. Lucas Mecha steps up. Now, Jordan Pickford went the right way, and let me tell you, if it wasn't a perfect penalty like it was, he would have saved it. It was right in the bottom corner, and I mean right in the bottom corner. An excellent penalty from Mecha, great composure, and in the end, Leeds were able to see it out through a number of different things, experience. I do think that Harrison was good when he came on. You know, Everton were a little bit stretched because they were trying to push for a winner, but he had that ability to find himself in space. Played some good passes, good crosses into the box. I think he'll be an asset this season. I think he will. Look, as much as we can love him or hate him for leaving Leeds and not sticking around in the Championship, I don't think he's done anything that horrendous, to be honest. But I do think that he offers something. I don't think he fits the system perfectly, but I think he offers something, and there's a reason why he stuck around as a Premier League player. He's not fantastic, but he's decent. And I think with the addition of somebody like Noah Okafor as well, offering you basically what Iliman Ndiaye is probably a better player than Noah Okafor, but that's the kind of player he is, the one to go past someone, beat somebody and open up space for his teammates. So if we can bring in him and Demirovic as well, who would have been on the end of some of those excellent Gabby Goodmanson crosses, we're in for a real winning recipe here. So this is us not as the finished article, but I think we played really, really well. And the last point I want to make is, when you look at surviving in the Premier League, these are the teams you've got to be beating. So you're looking at Everton, Brentford, Wolves, Burnley, Sunderland, probably not Crystal Palace, probably a little bit above that level, but those are the kinds of teams that you're expecting to beat. And if you can beat all of those teams at home, you stand yourself in real good stead to be able to stay up in the Premier League. So thanks for watching Leeds lately. Thank you so much for getting us to 10k. Check out all the links in the description as well. Etsy prints that I make myself as a graphic designer. And of course, as well, there are the official Leeds United store can be shopped through my link. I'll get a small affiliate kickback at no extra cost to you. Anyway, Leeds have just won their opening game of the Premier League. I think it's the first time, the first time ever, or maybe only the second or third time ever that 2 of the 3 promoted sides have won their opening game. So fantastic bit of news for Leeds and for Sunderland as well, who I feel like we both might stay up. That's what I did in my Premier League predictions anyway. Thanks for watching Leeds lately, and I'll see you in the next one.